Hi friends, it's Sarah from Ruffles and Rainboots.com. Today's video is a little bit different because I was asked about my newest offering. So I am showing you pictures of just a couple of the holiday gnomes that I have made using a single pattern. That pattern is the best-selling gnome pattern at more than 100,000 copies sold. It is the cutest little fellow. I've made angel gnomes, I have made reindeers, Santas, gingerbread, long dangling leg gnome. I mean, I have made so many girl gnomes, boy gnomes. I am also showing you the treasure gnome, which literally is creeping up the charts. This one, as well as the Scandinavian Sweeties gnome, can both be sewn or hot glued. And here's why I'm telling you about them. So on Etsy, I'm now offering acrylic patterns for both of these patterns. You can get the pieces of acrylic only, the digital pattern, or add on the printed pattern for the Scandi Sweeties. And for the treasure gnome, because it's a smaller package, we can add just the acrylic pieces, or we can add a digital pattern. Now, if you already have the pattern, obviously you just get those acrylic pieces. If not, you can add on what you need. Now, I was asked by a laser maker how I make this. So this video is for both my gnome audience and my laser audience in case you want to learn. So what I'm doing here is taking a piece of quality clear cast acrylic. This happens to be from Houston Acrylics. It's 12 by 19 sheet. So I'm going to remove the masking using that plastic, what is that? Plastic razor thing. It's amazing. And then I'm going to take dish soap. This is Dawn dish soap, and that's all it is in my cute little wee jar with a nice, cute little engraved lid. Those are so awesome. I use them in my craft room all the time. But I'm just going to take a little bit of the dish soap, and I have a gloved hand, and I'm just going to spread this dish soap out. So this method doesn't need a lot of soap. You just have to make sure that it gets even. So you don't want any places where the dish soap is more thick, because your engraving will absolutely be affected. And for those of you wondering why you're even doing this, that is because when you engrave anything, that detritus or that kerf that is removed from the item can settle back onto the item. It won't do that with the dish soap method because it's like a masking. We'll just be pulling this off and all that gunk will come on with it. So now that you have it pretty much distributed, I'm just looking through the lights just to make sure. We now need to let this dry. I usually run 3 or 4 of these sheets at a time. It doesn't matter if it's clear acrylic or colored acrylic. Then I take a set of digital calipers and measure each sheet. And if you aren't doing this, I do urge you to do it because it's 2.7 to 3.4. It's a big variance that you can get in a 3mm sheet. I'm using the xTool P2, which is a 55-watt CO2 laser. I have my standard file with all of my settings. If you need those settings, just let me have a comment below and I'll get them for you. You can see this single pattern is going to take 28 minutes and 10 seconds to engrave and then cut. So once we hit start on this beast of a machine, it's just going to start engraving. Now, I left the masking on the bottom because I'm not elevating this, because I've tested and tested and tested. I won't have any blowback on this because I have that masking on the bottom. So once that is done engraving and cutting, look, doesn't that look like garbage? Look how fuzzy it is, right? That would have settled back onto your piece. So now I'm just going to take a tiny little spritz of water and a dry paper towel, and it cleans right off. That quickly, by the way. I clean the edges, the holes that I use for hanging, everything. Once I have them all clean, I'm just going to use this plastic razor. I don't know what this is called, but it's probably the best thing since sliced bread. It saves your fingernails. Not that mine are very long or very pretty, but you can see I'm not having to use my fingernails, and I love that about this because all you have to do is just get that masking started. I sometimes use Gorilla Tape, but I do find that it can transfer some sticky, so this is what works for me best. So once you have it started, you just pull all it off, and that's it. You just do that 100 times. All right, so once that's done, I'm doing both of these so you can see all of the pattern pieces included. You also get a binder ring because that's how I prefer to store it and hang it on a hook, but you can use whatever you'd like. So I'm going to be packaging up this one on camera for you. This is the Treasure Gnome. And so what I've found after shipping these all over the United States after a couple months is basically if I'm adding anything acrylic to something, I'm going to be using a piece of recycled cardboard and some shrink wrap. You can see that's not tight on there. It doesn't matter. It's just going to be holding our pieces in place. I'm using Novus acrylic spray. This stuff is the best. And then I'm going to clean cloth it with the actual spray, and then I'm going to polish it with a different cloth. Once I have that, I'm just going to start building. Now this part did take me a couple trial and error. Everybody I sent test pieces to actually got a different setup so that I could determine which one was best, and this one by far won with both of the patterns. So again, I have a piece of shrink wrap around a piece of recycled cardboard. I have everything positioned. The metal is off to the side. This will be for all of the patterns. And then I just start wrapping it. So you can see our goal is that these aren't moving because boy, the postal services and parcel services can do a number on our packages, right? So what we're doing is making sure that this is completely solid. We actually shake it, we switch it up and down, we drop it to make sure that nothing moves, and it doesn't. So now I'm just going to be taking a piece of tissue paper and wrapping this up so it has a little bit nicer of a presentation, but I wanted to keep my packaging costs low, so bam, that's it in a nutshell. All right, so I've already showed you how to order it. So now I'm going to show you how to use it. You can use it with a rotary cutter, just like that, or you can use it with a piece of chalk or a sewing pencil and then cut it out manually. Both of them will work. Now here are a couple of more ideas that I have shared here in the channel. This pattern, again, Sweeties pattern, which is, you can use doll hair, you can use lamb's wool, you can use fur, you can even add on things like this free booty pattern with long legs for a shelf sitter, or you can add on this free angel wing pattern. Again, I like to give you a ton of inspiration, so if you aren't sure about it, just check out the playlists I'll put down below for both of these. As always, I appreciate you being here and watching this. Please go down to the Etsy links below and order your copy if you'd like. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe for more crafty fun.